Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Satchidananda Rupaya Vishvotpatyadihetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om, salutations to all. So we saw in this fourth canto of Bhagavatam about Raja Prthu and how he established a glorious kingdom. Earth was not bringing forth all the aushadhis and crops, etc. And so Mother Earth sings the stuti also of Raja Prthu, and she says how the wickedness had increased, and so she held back all her resources. Now that dharma is established, she starts bringing forth all of those resources. Now that was where we also saw in the 18th chapter in Canto 4 that Raja Prthu established the villages, the urban places, and designed various abodes for human beings, for cowherds, for cattle. And so the human dwellings like villages and towns, etc., started from his rule. Now we come to the next discourse, which is chapter 19. So Raja Prthu ruled the earth, ruled the kingdom in a very dharmic way. There was a lot of abundance, prosperity. And it is said that he conducted 99 Ashwamedha Yagnas. The 100th one he was going to conduct, he began conducting. Now it is said whoever conducts 100 Ashwamedha Yagnas he gets qualified to take the position of Indra. One of the names of Indra is Kratu. Kratu literally means a yagna, but not an ordinary yagna here. In this context, it means Ashwamedha Yagna, where a horse is sent out and a horse travels whichever kingdom it passes through. If they accept the sovereignty of the king whose horse it is, then great. If they allow the horse to move. Otherwise, if they hold the horse, then they have to fight the army of the king whose horse it is. So, see, in one way, that is also a peaceful way to ensure that without bloodshed, the sovereignty of a king is established. And whoever wants to fight, only there the battle will happen. Instead of the king attacking all the other kingdoms and creating hostility, destroying so much of life. So this 100th Ashwamedha Yagna, Raja Prthu, he starts. So that's where this 19th chapter begins. That King Prthu now consecrated himself as a preparation for the performance of 100 horse sacrifices in Brahmavarta, the land of Swayambhu Manu, where the Saraswati flows in the eastern direction. Now this Indra, who himself had got this position, the name of this Indra is Yagna. So this particular Indra, see, remember Indra also is a Jiva, is an exalted Jiva who has done Punya Karma and got the position of Indra, and now is in a form of a Devata, the king of Devatas, and has the responsibility also of managing the rains, etc. in the creation, and also presiding deity of our hands, Hastayoho Indra, it is said. So as a devata, he has responsibilities. As a king, he has responsibilities. But after all, he is a jiva and ignorant of the self. So this Indra, he got very scared that now if Raja Prthu completes 100 yajnas, then I will lose my position. It's not necessary that whoever finishes 100 yajnas will become Indra, but one becomes qualified. So now this Indra, he gets jealous. Now this is also to understand that even if a person comes to that position of Indra, as long as we feel ourselves as finite individuals, limited beings, there will be insecurity, there will be anxiety, stress, worry, sorrow, all that will continue. If one wants to be free from it once and for all, the only solution is Brahma Vidya. Get the Atma Jnana, the knowledge of the self. So Indra, see, Indra is the king of devatas also. To even come to a position of a devata is not very easy. And he is the king of devatas. And punya also is done. It is not that punya is not there. So the person feels insecure because of some papa karma. He has done punya also, but the nature of finitude is like that. No matter how much one attains, one will still feel incomplete and empty. So here it is, this Indra, he became very jealous of this Yagna preparations and so many grand festivities that are being organized for this particular Yagna. Now, he also became jealous because the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan Shri Hari, was also perceived by everybody that he is coming there for the Yagna. Brahmaji came, Shivji came, and with them Gandharvas, Apsaras, all these Siddhas, Vidyadharas, Daityas, Danavas, Guhyakas, they all came. And they all were led by Nanda and Sunanda, attendants of Sri Hari. Even great rishis like Kapil Muni, Naradji, Dattatreya Bhagavan, the 4 Sanat Kumars, they all have come there. Mother Earth also has come there in the form of a cow, and she has brought milk and ghee and other things for the offerings in the Yagna. So this is how a Yagna also is done. Each one brings what best they can for the ahutis or for the Yagna itself, to organize the Yagna. So then the rivers, they bore all sorts of sweet and delicious drinks, as well as milk, curd, buttermilk, clarified butter, along with many other liquid foods. The gigantic trees dropped honey, bore fruits in abundance. Oceans brought him heaps of jewels. Mountains brought 4 kinds of food. And all the worlds with their guardians brought presents, meaning all the lokas, different lokas. There are guardians of each loka. They all also attended. They all brought different presents. Now Indra, he saw that this is not an ordinary yagna. First of all, this is Ashwamedha yagna. In that Ashwamedha yagna, this is a special one because it is the 100th one. And it is organized at a grand level, and everybody has happily brought all this. Now think about it. Why will anybody bring all this to Raja Prthu? Until Raja Prthu has not been dharmic and has not established good relationship with all of them, they will not come. That all this only goes to show how Raja Prthu was loved by all, respected by all, how he ruled with dharma. He helped people, even though it seems that he got upset with Mother Earth in the earlier chapter we saw, but actually that was to help Mother Earth to bring forth all the resources and help the Praja also. So this Indra, when he saw this, that this Raja Prthu is so prosperous, iti chadhokshajeshasya prithostu paramodayam asuyan bhagavan indraha pratighatam achikarat. Asuyan. See, one name of Arjun is Anasuyuhu. Atri Rishi's wife is Anasuya Devi. Asuya means jealousy. It means to find fault even in what is good. That tendency to go on looking for only flaws and faults and complain and be negative, be pessimistic, that is called Asuya. Anasuya means one who is free from that, and one who can be free from that. One who has trained oneself to see the goodness, to see the positive, to invoke what is the opportunity there, rather than looking for complaints and cribbing and being dissatisfied. Imagine Indra has Asuya. He has everything at his disposal. He is the king of Devatas. But he has Asuya for King Prthu. So he had Asuya, and also what is the mind of Prthu Raja? Prthu Raja is not wanting to become Indra. His mind is Adhokshajeshasya Prithostu Paramodayam. His mind is absorbed in Bhagavan Vishnu. Bhagavan Vishnu's name is Adhokshaja. Means who cannot be seen by the senses, who is imperceptible to the physical senses. So for him, Bhagavan is the supreme. Though he is an Amsha of Bhagavan, as a king, he has a role to play, and he is playing that role as a Jiva, but he considers Bhagavan Vishnu as the supreme. He doesn't want the position of Indra. That's what it means. So for him, Bhagavan is his protector, is his master. He has surrendered to that Supreme Lord. To that King Prthu, who was so noble, so dharmic, so devoted to the Lord, in his Yagna, this Indra starts creating obstacles because of his own insecurity. This is what happens in the world, or not? Sometimes a person is devoted, dedicated, wanting to do good things, and is not bothered about grabbing somebody's position or taking away somebody's power or hurting somebody. He is not bothered. One is doing one's duty, but the insecurity of the other people, that starts. That is in their mind. They start thinking, they start getting threatened, and they start getting nervous, and then they start plotting against, and then they want to instigate things, and they hurt and harm and destroy, because that is their mind. Raja Prthu, we will see as the story moves on what happens. So he is anchored. Now what is important is this, when this shloka is nice here, Adhokshajeshasya Prithostu Paramodayam. If we are anchored in the Lord, if we have surrendered to Bhagavan, we have that inner strength, we don't wish ill of anybody else. It is not that we will not face troubles or challenges from other people, but we will not get shaken. Now, Indra has decided to create problems for Prthu Raja, but the anchoring of Prthu Raja is in the Lord. And so that is very important. If we are anchored, we have bhakti, we have ensured that we are doing our daily sadhana, our mind is pure. Positivity, dharma, bhakti has much, much, much more power than any negative thoughts, any insecurities. We have to know that consciously. We underestimate the power of truth, the power of dharma, the power of bhakti, the power of seva. We think that, oh, I am, just a truthful person. I am, such a dharmic person, world can exploit me like anything. Why will the world exploit? That is their insecurity. Dharma should make me strong, make me more sattvic and more balanced and more ready to face the challenges. If dharma makes me weak, that is not ideal dharma that I am following. I am having some misunderstanding about dharma. That is in my head. I have to clarify it, clear that. Bhakti cannot make me weak. Bhakti does not mean I love anybody and everybody. Why? Because Bhagavan is in the hearts of everybody. So, let them do anything. If they want to destroy me, also let them destroy. Bhakti doesn't say that. Bhagavan himself is having Astra Shastra. All the lords have Astra and Shastra with them. Where is the question of becoming weak and who are you? I am just an ordinary bhakta, What can I do? The negative forces are so powerful. Nothing. Then that bhakti has not made me strong. I am having some wrong notion about bhakti. So here you see this Indra, he becomes insecure. Now, when Prthu Raja is engaged in worshipping the Lord, so Yagna that Prthu Raja is doing, that Yagna also is of the form of Bhagavan. Yagna vai Vishnu, it is said. So he is worshipping that Supreme Lord Vishnu through the Yagna, and he is doing it for Bhagavan. What does Indra do? He steals away the horse. Yagna Pashum Spardhan Apovaha Tirohitaha. He steals the sacrificial horse. And he remains hidden. He comes in now you see what is said here. He comes in a form of a sannyasi. And he takes this horse and he is moving through the air. Quietly he came, nobody is noticing him, and he took the horse and he went. Everybody is engaged in that worship. Their attention is in the yagna, where the ahutis are being offered. Bhagavan is manifesting through the Agni there. So this Indra, very stillily he comes and he takes that horse. Atri Rishi he saw. So Atri Rishi saw him running through the sky in the garb of a sannyasi. And he had taken up that garb so that nobody will suspect that it is Indra who has come. Think about it. Even before Ravan took up that form of a sadhu to kidnap Sita ji, Indra himself has done that. So he comes, he takes, and he is moving quickly through the air, going away from the earth. So Atri Rishi immediately sees him. And he recognizes, this is not a sadhu, this is Indra who is in this disguise. That is another point to understand here. Atri Rishi is a sannyasi, great Mahatma. He was able to recognize or not that this is Indra. Our sattva guna in us will make us pure, make us sharp, that if somebody is playing cunningness and deceit with us, we will be able to recognize that is sattva guna. Tamo guna is laziness, lethargy, indulgence. Even if somebody is doing something, we are not bothered, we are not aware. They just quietly, they make a fool of us and go. In Rajoguna, it is where we are so caught up with our own mind and our own ego, we can't even see that somebody is here to destroy us. But the weird thing is, in the world, we think that this Rajoguna is what is required to, identify, and people should not take me for granted, and so I should be Rajasic. If I become Sattvic, they will take me for granted. One can easily recognize if real Sattva Guna is there in the mind, because the mind of Sattvic person is out of its ego. Our ego is minimum. Is not preoccupied with I, me, mine, my enjoyment, my hurt, my power, my glory. The more one is obsessed with that, one can't see the games others are playing. So we have to be careful about that. That if we have cultivated Sattva Guna, we will be able to recognize, even through the body language, through the eyes. One doesn't need to, even through the words, what the tone, the intention, non-verbal communication, verbal communication, body language, through all that, one will be able to understand there is something missing here, something wrong here. So Atri Rishi recognized that. He said, this fellow is not a sannyasi. Now he is Indra who has come in this disguise. So Atri Rishi immediately alerted. Now Prthu Raja is in the Yagna, he is doing Havan. So he alerted the son of Prthu Raja, and he was a Maharathi. So this son, he gave a chase and he shouted at that Indra, saying, halt, halt, wait, wait, where are you taking this horse and going? Now Indra had, he had matted locks, he has bhasma, and he is in the garb of a sannyasi. And suddenly that prince, he thought, this doesn't, he is a sannyasi. He is not, he may not be doing something wrong. So he got confused. So he didn't shoot, he didn't attack him. He thought that, this sadhu is taking maybe for some good, he will return the horse in some time. So he came back. Because if it is some king, some thief, or some, messenger, spy of some other kingdom who has taken, then you attack. Now this Indra has taken the garb of a sannyasi. And sannyasi is supposed to be revered, highest in the, highest respect is given to that sannyasi. And he is a Kshatriya, king of, the son of Raja Prthu. Shooting a sannyasi is impossible. So Indra, that's why he took up that disguise, very cunning. Took up the disguise of a sannyasi. So naturally this boy got confused. He said, he is a sannyasi, maybe he will return in some time. Maybe he has some purpose, we don't know. He trusted. He came back. Now this is where the difference is. Atri Rishi recognized, but this king's son, he couldn't recognize. Though he is a great Maharathi and he has fought so many wars and everything, he couldn't recognize that, oh, this is not, a sannyasi. This is Indra in this disguise. That's where the power of sadhana, sattva-guna, honesty, integrity, all that is. A person who is honest and has integrity will immediately recognize there is some dishonesty here, disintegrity here. But if there is a mixture of honesty, disintegrity, dishonesty in us, to that extent how much we are dishonest, we can't recognize. So here it is that Indra, he was escaping. And when the son came back without fighting with Indra, Atri Rishi urged him that, he is not a sannyasi like you think. He is Indra who is running like this. So he told him that, strike, O dear child, the great Indra, who is in fact the vilest of gods, as he has interfered with your father's sacrifice. Jahi yajna hanam tata mahendram vibudha 15th shloka. So don't get carried away by this false garb he has put. You attack him. Now he is infuriated. See, now there is double problem. One is that Indra is in that garb of a sannyasi and he was taking the horse and going away. That itself is a wrong act. Disguising and then stealing. Now the son of Prthu Raja did not recognize that Indra. All the more his ego is hurt, saying, oh God, what a fool I am. I didn't recognize this Indra. He is taking away this horse and I mistook him to be sannyasi and I came back. What a fool I made of myself. With that vengeance he goes. And he gave chase to Indra as he was hastening through the sky, even as Jatayu chased Ravan. That's an analogy given here. Vedavyas Maharshi is writing this Bhagavad Puran, right? So he gives an analogy that how Jatayu gave a chase to Ravan, same way this Indra, this son of Prthu Raja chased Indra. That analogy also is very apt here, because Ravan also came in that guise of a sannyasi, Indra also came in the guise of a sannyasi. And Prthu Raja's son, he is young, very young. He goes there to fight like Jatayu. So when he goes there, obviously the analogy stops there, because Raja Prithu's son does not die. There Jatayu is, finally defeated, and he passes away in the laps of Bhagavan Ram. But here it is that he fights. So when he gave such a terrible chase, Indra got scared. And what did Indra do? He gave up the prince, he gave up the horse, as well as he gave up the disguise, and he assumed his true form. And he just vanished from there. Because he got scared that this Prthu Raja's son, now he has come, he will fight with me, and then Prthu Raja himself and his whole army, everyone can come. So he got psyched up. Now he left the horse, he left his own disguise. So Prthu Raja's son saw that this fellow really was Indra only. But he took the horse and he came back. So the hero came back to his father's sacrifice, bringing the horse with him. And so the son got a name, Vijit Ashwa. The son got a name because he got the horse back. Ashwa is a horse. So Vijita Ashwa. So he got the name as Vijit Ashwa, one title or honor. So now the horse has come back. Indra is not sitting quietly. His pride has been hurt. And he has to ensure that this 100th Yagna doesn't happen. So what does he do? Creating a thick mass of darkness, this Indra, once again he stole the horse. See how ego plays. At that moment, he did not recognize, he did not feel sad also that, oh God, what was I even doing? Why did I even try to steal the horse, etc.? He felt that fear. He left the horse, he dropped his disguise, he ran. Then he should have introspected. He should have thought that what a fool I am, why am I even doing all this? And if he knows Raja Prthu well, Raja Prthu doesn't want his kingdom, his throne. He is devoted to Bhagwan. Raja Prthu is dedicated to Bhagwan, and he is not doing it for that throne of Indra. Indra got insecure by himself. So there's no introspection, nothing. When this is the power of desire, this is what we have to understand. A lot of things to learn from these episodes. The desire, when it gets hold of a person, that person loses all vivek. Somehow it has to be fulfilled. Please remember, these are the desires born from Rajoguna. This is what Bhagavan told Arjun in the Gita also, that what is it that makes a person commit sin, even though one knows that this is wrong? That time Bhagavan answers, Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhavaha. It is the desire and anger born out of Rajoguna that will completely grip a person. Bhagavan calls them as the enemy. Vidhyena miha vairinam. He gives many examples there. So one example he gives there is, it is like the fuel which will be added to fire. It can only increase that fire. Kama rupena kaunteya dushpurena analena cha. It is like the fuel you keep on pouring. The fire keeps on increasing. No matter how much you put, the fire doesn't get satiated. So these desires are like that. Rajoguna desires are like that. They will go on fueling the fire in the mind. One feels, I need more, I need more, I need more. And it doesn't end. Imagine Indra he has become and still is insecure. This is the power of Rajasic desires. They will grip the mind like anything. And in that one becomes so blinded, dharma, adharma, everything one can't see clearly. One thinks dharma is adharma is dharma, and behaves all deluded. So here Indra, he doesn't sit quietly. Now this horse was put under special protection. They tied that horse with golden chain and all that. And Indra comes, creates a whole spell of all darkness, everything, and he takes that horse and the wooden ring placed in front of it, where the horse is tied. He takes the entire thing together. Now, again, Atri Rishi understood this. That this fellow has come second time now. Again, he's taking the horse and going. And he told the Vijitashva now. He told him that, look, Indra is going again. So the hero, however, did not obstruct him, holding as he did in his hand a staff with a skull at the top. So now he said, no, I can't do this, I can't chase him. What did he do? He said, I don't want to chase him, I will destroy him. So he takes an arrow, he sets it on his bowstring, and he aims at Indra. Now Indra understood that now this fellow is not chasing me to get only the horse back, he is going to kill me. So what does Indra do? He gives up the horse, gives up his vesh of a sannyasi again, and he becomes invisible. Now, again, Vijitashva takes the horse back and he returns. Now, what happened is this episode with Indra. So, Indra taking up this taking up this disguise, and he's coming as a sannyasi. Some people took this as a liberty, that we can also do this. They as though learned from Indra to cheat people. So that's why here it is said that some weak-minded people who accepted as their own the reproachful garb assumed and shed by Indra, they took up that. What sadhu vesh Indra had dropped, they took that up. The hypocritical garbs and appearances that Indra assumed with the intention of stealing away the horse, these came to be known as pakhanda, because they were the marks of a sinful propensity, papasya khandani. So pakhanda means that where one does sin using a dharmic disguise to do adharmic things, that is called pakhanda. So the word khanda has been used here in the sense of a mark. The mark they have used is of a dharmic, the clothes and the marks, the ashes and all that, khadau and rudraksha and all those things. Now this Indra, he had taken that garb. Now, so people in the world, they started doing this. So in this way, the mind of men was foolishly attracted towards the deceitful garbs assumed and dropped by Indra when he stole away the horse with the motive of interrupting the sacrifice, as well as towards the false creeds passing as true religion under the attractive labels of Nagnas, a fraternity of naked mendicants. Evam Indre haratyashvam Vainya Yagna jighamsaya tadgrihita visrishteshu pakhandeshu matirninam. 24th shloka. Dharma iti upadharmeshu nagna rakta patadishu prayena sajjate bhrantya peshaleshu cha vagmishu. So these different garbs that people take up. So it's not necessarily only through the ochre robes and sannyasi. So here he says even the nagnas, that's a category of sadhus who don't wear clothes. For them, The directions are their clue. That's why they're called Digambar also. Then Raktapatas. So Raktapata here in this context does not mean Rakta is red color. So Raktapata does not mean red, does not mean Rakta does not mean here as blood. Raktapata here means Rakta is red color. So the ochre robed sannyasis, sadhus, and they may preach eloquently, they may do many, spiritual rites, rituals, sadhanas, all that, but they only do that, some of them who took up this, only to cheat people, only to grab their wealth or to exploit them in different ways. So that's why in the Bhagavatam here he says, Yani Rupani Jagrahe Indro Haya Jihir Shaya Tani Papasya Khandani Lingam Khandam Ihochyate. The weak-minded people do all this because they don't have the strength to live the dharmic way. They don't want to struggle, do hard work, live righteously, and they exploit the faith that the people have in dharma, dharmic people, sadhus, sannyasis who are trying to live dharma uncompromisingly, who are walking that path. So they exploit the shraddha of the people. Now imagine Indra doing that. What is the power of a desire? Which can make Devaraj also take up a garb of a sannyasi to cheat people. I mean, obviously there is no justification for this at all, that if Indra can do, then we are ordinary, we can also do. The point is to understand how powerful can be a desire and how one can become such a victim of that desire that one can get absolutely carried away. If Indra can get carried away, then what to talk about anybody else? That's why one has to be very alert that what type of a desire is arising in the mind, and one does not have to jump at it because the desire has come, I have to do it. Is it dharmic? Is it adharmic? First one has to think that, and what is it making me do? Is it making me walk the path of dharma or make me go towards adharma? If it is making me go towards adharma, I have to stop that. How to stop that? So that's where satsang, sadhana, vivek, all seva, all that will help. One has to engage more in doing these things. Pratipaksha bhavana can be used. The harm that it will bring, that is what has to be seen clearly. The pleasure it will bring, we get carried away by that. That's why one runs compulsively behind that desire. What is the pain that it will bring? How it will make me and people around me go through difficulties, challenges. Many things happen when one goes into a dharmic way. And the karma phala, when it comes, only one has to bear it individually. Nobody is there to bear all that. So when one does all that introspection, thinking, one can step back. Even though the mind may tempt, sometimes one says, no, I am not falling for this. That is the non-cooperation with the mind one has to do if these rajasic desires make us compromise from dharma. Sattvic desires for satsang, sadhana, doing seva, doing, bhakti, all that is good. So it's not that always we have to oppose our mind. We have to oppose the mind when it is going in the wrong direction. We have to support that mind when it is cultivating purity, because that pure mind is the means of liberation. Impure mind is the cause of bondage. So that is a point to learn here, that Indra, when he did this, also another point to understand is the leader. If the king of Devata sets this example, then obviously the people who are in the world, they look up to Indra. Oh, Indra, such a great person, what a position, and how much punya he has done and how many yagnas he has done to reach there. Even at that position, insecurity can make a person do adharma. So those who look up to him, and that's why he said here the weak-minded people. Those who are weak-minded, they will take up these things done by the leader. Oh, if the leader can compromise like this, then we can also do. Then what? There's nothing wrong in that. So it's very important who is the leader, what is their mindset, how they live, what is the integrity that they have, because that affects everybody. So now Prthu Raja came to know this, that this fellow has done this twice. And now because of him, the people are also trying to do, they're trying to cheat the masses, cheat the people, take up wrong, disguise, adharmic ways. They are trying to, all because Indra did this. So he got very angry. He got very upset. And that is when he is ruled with so much of dharma. See, it is not easy to establish dharma in the society. And this Raja himself is so dharmic and he has done so much for the whole society and establish dharma, because that's the purpose of Bhagwan's avatar, to establish dharma. And he is in the Kshatriya roop also. So this Indra, if he is misbehaving, he doesn't have any regret to even necessary disturbance and making people go on the adharmic way. So he took up his bow and arrow and he was ready to strike at Indra. And his might and his rapidity of movement, irresistible. Now, when the Brahmanas, they saw this, because his Yagna, when he does this, the Yagna will get spoiled. Because one has to be in a certain state of mind to do the Yagna, to offer the Ahuti, then the result will come. It's not simply chanting mantras. Mantras have power, and Brahmanas will chant the mantras. If the Yajman knows, Yajman also chants, then takes the Ahuti, offers it, full mind and bhavana, everything is to be there in that Yajna. And it has to be in a sattvic mood. And Ashwamedha Yagna, etc., will have many other rules also. So when this anger comes and the mind is shifted away from Bhagavan, from the Ahutis, and goes to this Indra, and now he wants to kill. So these priests who are there, they saw that now Prthu Raja has made up his mind to kill this Indra. So they prevented him. They told him, please stop. It is not worthy of you to kill anyone other than the beasts approved of in the scriptures on this sacred occasion. So animal sacrifice is one part of the rituals which is done. It is not that Bhagwan wants animals to be sacrificed, but there are various other reasons behind why it is done. Ahutis are offered to devatas also. Also, it is that horse is no more an ordinary horse. The Virat Roop is invoked in that. Then that Bali happens of that horse. So the Jiva who is in that form of that horse evolves like anything. The scriptures give various reasons why those things happen and why a certain animal sacrifice is done. And they are Kshatriyas. So it is done to increase their valor also, to increase their strength also, and certain offerings, when they happen, it will have a certain result. And the Ashwamedha Yagna also is done for that. It can be done by the king for one's own glory alone, or it can be done by the king for one's own glory, which is for the benefit of the society. One's own glory, matlab the glory of that kingdom. If that kingdom becomes very powerful, obviously Praja will also benefit. So scriptures give a certain reasoning, and they will also give the prayaschitta for it, because one has taken life. Like how when we eat food also, there's the Nama Japa that we do, the Pancha Maha Yagnas that we do, in that there is so much of in the rituals which are done, in that there is, the ahutis are offered, even the many beings will get burnt and destroyed in that. So one does other sadhanas to not compensate for it, but to maintain that ecological balance also. So the Panchamahayagnas, in that when we do the Bhuta Yagna, Manusha Yagna, all those things, Pitru Yagna, Deva Yagna, when all those things are done, Rishi Yagna, they help the mind, they help the environment for what loss we have created by our act. We have to replenish. So a Kshatriya also has to do that. So that's the balance that is created. And it is not done for eating, for the pleasure of the tongue. That horse also is sacrificed in that, not because people want to eat that horse. It is done as an offering. So he says that right now you are in the midst of a yagna, you cannot do any other form of hatya right now. Only the beast that has to be destroyed, you can do only that, then the yagna will be proper. And he says, we will invoke to this very place through the powerful spells this Indra, and who has tried to destroy your yagna and has been eclipsed by your glory, and will without delay forcibly throw your enemy, O king, into the fire. So we will invoke. You don't kill him, because then you are going to be unsuccessful in doing this yagna. So we will invoke him and we will throw him into the fire in front of you. With that power of the mantras and everything, we will do that. So you don't worry. Now these priests, they started chanting the mantras and they started putting ahutis into the fire. They were just going to do that. They were about to do that. Then Brahmaji immediately held them back, saying, wait. And they said, he went to Prthu Raja. And what does he say? Indra does not deserve to be killed by you for Yagna. That's the name of this Indra. Whom you seek to get rid of is a manifestation of the Lord himself. While the gods who are being propitiated by you are so many forms of Indra alone. So don't forget the higher vision here. And there is no doubt that Indra has done adharma here and he has violated dharma. So Brahmaji is addressing the Brahmanas also, saying that with the intention of obstructing this sacrifice, this Indra has done adharma, and it will not stop. His mischief will not stop. His adharmic acts will not stop. So let the number of sacrifices standing to the credit of Prthu fall short of 100 by 1. Because he is the king of devatas. He has become, and he has to be also seen as a manifestation of the divine. He has a place in the divine play. He also has a responsibility, and yes, he has got insecure and he has become adharmic, and he is going to continue this, because if the 100th yagna completes, then he may lose his position. So he is acting out of insecurity. You have to understand that, and don't try to destroy him here. Let Prthu Raja not complete 100 yagnas, because anyway Prthu Raja doesn't want anything that Indra is thinking he wants. So he says, let his yagnas be only 99. And he turns to Prthu Raja and he says, we all know that you don't want this for becoming Indra. So you have no use of sacrifices well performed, since you are conversant with the dharma conducive to liberation. We know that you have that highest goal in mind, that you want to be liberated. Now, you don't want position of Indra. So how does it matter even if one less yagna you do? You came here to establish dharma. And if you do this yajna, Indra is also doing adharma and following his example. These are weak people. Other people also are taking disguise and then they are cheating other people. So he said, it is not worthy of you to show anger against this mighty Indra. For who is your second self? For God bless you, both of you are manifestation of the Lord, enjoying excellent renown. Brood no more over this incident and listen to our word with an attentive mind. For the mind of the man who contemplates achieving what has been thwarted by providence gets highly enraged and is steeped in blind infatuation. This is what Indra will go through. So that mind which is thwarted by providence, meaning Indra didn't get, no, twice he tried to take away the horse and he couldn't take, and he couldn't disturb the yajna of Prthu Raja. So he will become more enraged, and this will only create more adharma. Devatas are in charge of ensuring dharma prevails. Now this act of yours is going to provoke him, and already it has provoked him, and he will continue to do this adharma. So he says here that let this sacrificial performance cease, for the gods are obstinate by nature. See, so they are jivas finally. And it is due to this performance that dharma is being violated through pseudo-religious practices started by Indra. Now yajna is to establish dharma. Now this yajna only becomes the cause for adharma. Then we should stop this. So he says, look at these men being carried away by the attractive forms of false religion given currency of Indra. Indra is doing adharma. Now all these other people also have started following his example. And so a ray of Lord Vishnu, you are here, he is an Amsha of Bhagavan Vishnu, is Raja Prthu. He said, you have come here on this earth to establish dharma in order to preserve the religious faith of the people. Remember when King Vena was there was adharma, and then they killed this King Vena, and then churning his hands, Raja Prthu came and he established dharma. So he said, your birth or your incarnation is for establishing dharma, confirming to the various scriptures that had been undermined by his misdeeds, O Prthu, the misdeeds of Vena. Therefore, considering the welfare of this universe, fulfill the desire of the progenitors of the world, like Bhrigu, etc., and foil the conjuring trick employed by Indra in the shape of the terrible pseudo-religion, which gives rise to a number of false creeds. That this is going to create more and more such ways of manipulation, cunningness, exploitation, because Indra is not going to stop. Now somebody may say that, oh, Brahmaji should have told Indra and corrected him. Why Brahmaji didn't correct Indra? Brahmaji should not have told Prthu Raja to stop. He should have told Indra, you better keep your mouth shut and sit quietly. What he's doing is dharma, what you are doing is adharma. Now instead of telling Indra, he is told Prthu Raja that, Indra is doing wrong because of your yajna. So if you stop, Indra will not do wrong. So that means the right of Prthu Raja is, taken away. He has all rights to do anything dharmic. Why should a dharmic person stop his duty because some adharmic person is trying to foil this plan? We will see why that happened in the next chapter. But Prthu Raja understood very clearly that why he has to stop. He didn't make an ego issue. That is the point also to understand from here, that he didn't ask this question that, Brahmaji, why are you telling me? I am doing the right thing. You better tell Indra. Have you lost your senses? You have forgotten who is dharmic or who is adharmic. Why are you taking the side of adharmic people? Prthu Raja didn't say anything like that. Now what did he do? So when Brahmaji instructed him like this, he followed. Prthu Raja did as he was told. He did not insist on completing that yajna. And not only came to terms with Indra, but also bestowed his affection on him. where he was angry and he wanted to finish off Indra, he stopped his yajna and he came to terms with Indra and bestowed his blessing and affection also on Indra. Now when he finished, so yajna stopped, he took his ceremonial bath, which is supposed to be taken at the end of a sacrifice. He stopped it, and so he took that ceremonial bath. Then the gods which have been propitiated by him conferred boons on Prthu Raja. The Brahmanas, their blessings, whose blessings always come true, and who had received the sacrificial feast, they are duly honored with reverence. They pronounce the blessings also on Prthu Raja. And all those who had assembled in response to your invitation, O mighty armed ruler, the mains, the gods, the rishis, the human beings, they all have been duly honored by you with the gifts and with attention. Prthu Raja did all dan, dakshina, whatever he has to do at the end of a yajna. So many people have come. So that way his yajna got concluded. But why Brahmaji did this? He explained that your purpose will get defeated if you do this, and it will go in an opposite direction. So it is not about Indra doing wrong and punishing Indra. It is also about Prthu Raja becoming very clear that what is my role, why I came here to do dharma, and if my performance of dharma is creating more adharmic consequences, then I need to stop, because anyway I don't want that position of Indra. Now it does seem unfair that Indra got away with all this, but it is not like that. The story still continues. We will see in the next class what actually happens. But today we will stop here. Any questions? So August we will have 2 classes, which is August 2nd and 9th. After that, we may have a break for quite some time, because I will be taking the youth empowerment program, so I may not be able to take classes during that time. So August 15th onwards till October 31st, we will have a break, I think. If I'm able to do in between sometimes, then I will inform you, but otherwise we will have a break. So, no questions? Okay, so we shall do the Arati.
मंगल आरती प्रिया प्रीतम की, मंगल प्रीति रीति धूम की, मंगल कांति हसनी दसनन की, मंगल मुरली दीना धुन की, मंगल आरती। मंगल बणिक त्रिभंगी हरि की, मंगल सेवा सब सहचर की, मंगल सिर चंद्रिका मुकुट की, मंगल छवि नयन में अटकी, मंगल आरती। पभी अंग अंग की, मंगल गौर श्याम रंग की, मंगल अति कटि पियरे पट की, मंगल चितमणि नागर नट की, मंगल आरती। मंगल शोभा कमल नयन की, मंगल माधुरी मृदुल पैन की, मंगल वृंदावन मद अटकी, मंगल क्रीडन जमुना तट की, मंगल आरती। मंगल चरण अरुण तरुवन की, मंगल करणी भगति हरिजन की, मंगल जुगल प्रिया भावन की, मंगल श्री राधा जीवन की, मंगल आरती प्रिया प्रीतम की, मंगल प्रीति रीति डोल की, मंगल आरती मंगल आरती। राधावर कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्र तारकम, नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतोऽयमग्निः, तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं, तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की।
ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।